Hey, league managers, this is your commissioner Tyler Burkhart here with the Week 10 recap. A lot of upsets, a lot of interesting matchups. We see the top three teams go out. Meanwhile, we see some teams on the rise. So let's get to the recap show and see what happened. Also, before we get started, I want to make a note that I have three very, very important announcements at the end of the recap show, so make sure to stay tuned until the very end. Okay, so let's start out with the best manager of the week. I'm going to give this to Kyle Armstrong of the Seattle Sasquatches. He scored over 90 points this week in really almost a must-win game. Keeps him even with Aaron Middlestad at the top of his conference. And really, I felt that the trade to get Ron Gronkowski was huge for his team because, in my opinion, I think he's got the most solid starting lineup now in all of fantasy football. I know his record doesn't show it, but I think heading into the playoffs, this is the team that I think now I'm most scared to play. So, very interesting to see how he will progress as the weeks move forward. The worst manager of the week, I'm going to give to Adam Wirt to the Green Bay Legends. Now, I hate putting down managers that try to make moves to improve their team. But I think we're starting to see the effects of trading Aaron Rodgers. He's 0-3 since trading Rodgers. He's still starting Pierre Thomas in a very crowded backfield, and I know he doesn't have many options, but I think he should actually, in this case, consider 2 running backs instead of 3, because I don't think Pierre Thomas will ever score more than 4 fantasy points, especially with Mark Ingram back. And also, I know we don't emphasize a lot on kickers, but kickers really can make a difference. Look at what San Diego Whales and what he's done the past few weeks with Robbie Gould. And really, some of these close matchups, I mean, a kick can make the difference. And with Pittsburgh's defense and the Cincinnati rookie young offense, I don't think that was the best play to play the Cincinnati kicker. So I know we don't spend much time on kickers, but I think those are some of the areas that we're seeing Adam struggle on, and now 4-6 and almost out of the playoff picture. The most valuable player, no doubt about it, in my opinion, is Chicago defense for Oakland Velos. 31 fantasy points, and not only did that help him, but they shut down Stafford and Calvin Johnson for the other team, meaning that a huge victory for Oakland. Also, my upset of the week as well, Oakland over Kiln. Kiln, I thought on a 7-game win streak was going to be virtually impossible, and especially how DeMarco Murray's been playing. But, things might look a little bit different now, especially with Frank Gore out with that team. We don't know what his status will be. So, very interesting to see Oakland pull off that upset. The best matchup, I think, was Washington and San Fran, both in the low 80s. Very close game going down to Sunday Night Football. Both pretty solid teams. San Fran, the best team. And I pulled off the victory to get to 6-4. I have a feeling that I'll face them again in the playoffs. That's going to be my prediction already. So we'll see what happens, but a very good matchup. So let's get to the rankings. I'll read them off again because I want to have graphics. But a lot of on the top will stay the same. San Fran stays at the 1 spot, Minnesota 2, and Kiln Legend 3. I still have Seattle at 4, even though I think Seattle is probably the most feared team now in the league. 5, Washington. And then moving up 1 spot, now into who I predict into the playoff picture now is Cleveland at the 6th spot. Indianapolis at 7, Oakland at 8. Moving down 3 spots to 9 is Green Bay. Portland at 10, San Diego at 11, New York Blackout down 2 spots to 12, Fargo Embargo 13, San Antonio after a 4-game losing streak is now down to 14, Yankees at 15, and LA Seismic Quakes at 16. So looking ahead for Week 11, I'm going to predict that this is the best week of fantasy football for our league. This is going to decide, I think, quite a bit of things here. And we have some huge matchups. Start off, Kiln taking on Washington, competing for the AFC East. Washington wins. These two teams are tied. And remember, the tiebreaker is division record, which Washington would have a better divisional record. So huge game, especially for myself in Washington here. If I can pull off the win, could help me get that much closer, not only clinching the division, but maybe squeaking into a first-round bye. Another huge game, I think, is I love those elimination games, and I see one here. First of all, with Portland and Oakland. I think Portland, if they lose, are definitely out of it, and if Oakland lose, they're not completely out of it, but very close. So that's an intriguing matchup. And Green Bay Legends takes on Indianapolis Eyeball. If Indianapolis wins this game, I'm going to say that they clinch. But meanwhile, this is a must-win game for Green Bay. Otherwise, I see them out of the question completely. And then another matchup that I have to say intrigues me is Seattle and Fargo. Because Seattle loses this game, we could see a virtual three-way tie in the AFC West as Fargo makes the improbable comeback here. So a lot of games intrigue me this week. We'll have to see what's in store. Okay, I forgot to calculate the predictor winner, but I'll announce that in the league. So stay tuned for that. But I wanted to save time for announcements. First announcement that I wanted to make is I'm going to have a few votes in the blog. The first one deals with league settings as far as the kicker position for next year, whether you want it or not. A lot of games have been decided by a kicker, and I know Brian Kleinschmidt's brought up a lot of controversy with the kicker position. And if you think about it, this is always the second or last pick in the draft. So the question I want to propose is it worth having a kicker decide some matchups? Maybe the best answer is not to have them at all. So I want to propose that as a question. And then also, I'm going to put it in effective immediately unless someone's incredibly objective to it. But if you want to make an acquisition between Friday and Sunday morning, if you message me that acquisition and let me know if you want them in your lineup or bench, I will make that acquisition for you. The league closes it after the Thursday game, which may hurt some teams. So basically, if you want to make an acquisition, you can do that after the Thursday game. The only thing I'm going to say is you can't acquire somebody in that Thursday game. So if I wanted to pick up like a player like Lance Ball, let's say he's available, and I want to pick him up a Saturday, I can't do that. I'm not going to allow you to do that. But anybody else that plays that Sunday or Monday or has a bye, I'll do that, and just let me know where you want them in your lineup. Finally, remember that the winner of the consolation bracket will get the first pick of the draft. There's going to be, I think, some big names there, possibly like a Fred Jackson, Beanie Wells, Roddy White, LeGarrette Blount. There's a lot of different possibilities, Wes Welker. So that's going to be a pretty big pick for whoever gets it for their team. So just to let you know, if you're not going to make it, at least look forward to the consolation, try to win that, because you will have the first pick and every other round, which I think will be pretty critical. Otherwise, that does it for the recap show. I'm your league commissioner, Tyler Burkhart. Game on.